You're listening to the Jam Price Show, and today my guests are award-winning directors and cinematographers Angelique Molina and Abraham Troen. Welcome to the show. We're going to be talking about the documentary, their new documentary entitled Just Sing. So, welcome to the show, Angelique and Abraham.
Thank you for having us. Thank
It's nice
you.
to have
So
you
glad to
here.
be here.
So, I have a lot of questions about how do two people co-direct and also be the cinematographers of a film. How does that work? Angelique, I'll start with you because that's pretty daunting, I would think, at deciding who does what and how and when.
Well, it's a balance. AB and I met in college, film school, and we worked well together. We worked on each other's projects and helped each other out with everything. And so being on this film to be able to do it for a long period of time with a feature film, we had to balance, and we use the word harmonize a lot because we've been on this film about singers, and we've witnessed them working together and understanding that sometimes you're the lead singer and sometimes you're the person harmonizing, but you need both of each other to make it work. And to get the song, I guess that you would say, to shine and be beautiful. So we did that with each other, and sometimes, well, we were holding the camera a lot and making decisions in the interviews. We would feed off of each other when we were interviewing people. Sometimes it would be like, okay, you're going to ask the questions today. Okay, you're going to ask the questions today. Or we would both be asking the questions at the same time and just bouncing off of each other. But we definitely had a balance and a history of working together that made it like this beautiful, cohesive way of working.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's like tag team, I guess.
Tag teaming, yes, yes. And sometimes at the same time.
Were there any arguments that ensued or disagreements about who did what?
I think, this is an observational documentary following 16 college
Yeah.
students, out of whom there are some, protagonists, but we had to really embed ourselves within college life. And that is, as daunting as you make it sound to work as a duo, it's actually
Yeah.
far more terrifying to go to something like that all by yourself.
Agreed.
So we had the real pleasure of just like, okay, let's go for it.
Mhm.
Um, and we were a team filming a team
Yeah.
ultimately. And just as Angelique said, they had to figure out a way to harmonize. Um, with full knowledge that sometimes actually having multiple voices makes it sound better rather than if you're just going at it, as one. So that was the same case for us. And as an observational documentary, and both of us being directors and cinematographers, the advantage is having multiple literal vantage points and having more than one camera where each of us are looking at something while having each our own lens on things. And that makes a better edit and that makes a better, richer story.
Wonderful. That's a beautiful way of putting it. Exactly. Angelique, just so our audience knows what we are talking about, why don't you give a brief synopsis of what Just Sing is all about?
Yeah, so Just Sing follows the Collegiate Acapella team SoCal VoCals through their ICCA journey, which is the real life pitch perfect competition. And it follows them through the competition, but more importantly, it follows them through their coming of age moments in college, figuring out what they want to do with their lives, and taking on a risky profession and passion of singing.
And how did you choose? Why did you choose this subject actually? Why did you decide to follow the SoCal vocals at this particular year, Abraham?
Well, first of all, we should explain how we got to the project in the first place.
Right.
The project is produced by Ventureland, together with Mercury, which is Universal Music Group's like documentary branch, and WIP. And they had been looking to do a real life Pitch Perfect for a long time. And every year, 12,000 students on average join the competition, the a cappella collegiate competition. And so go find the right team within 12,000 students, right? So Sarah went and found the all-time champion, the SoCal VoCals, who had been undefeated, I believe, in over just under 3 decades, constantly winning. But they didn't win each. They won every time they competed. That is to say they don't compete every year. Does that make sense? Um,
They don't go to the competition every single year. Is that what you're saying?
Right,
Correct.
because it's college students and they switch. So let's say within the lifespan of a college student, 4 years, they'll compete at least once. But since it's such a demanding extracurricular activity, they choose to do it only when the team feels ready and um, to make it fit their studies. At the end of the day, they are college students, not only, a cappella competitors. Um, so we decided that we would make this into a film only when we met the actual students. We went and visited them in the a cappella house. That is the name of the college house they live in at USC. And every room in that house, you had students singing. And it was probably one of the most exciting and beautiful moments that Angelique and I had was to just enter that space. And we are no longer of college age, but we felt, I don't know if to say nostalgic or inspired or both at the same time, just meeting them, hearing about their stories, and we were like, okay, let's make this into a movie.
Great. So were you with were you, the producers of this film, they were influenced by the film Perfect, the three films of Perfect? Is that what inspired this documentary, Angelique?
Yeah, I think they wanted to see what the tournament is a real thing, and the movie is actually based off of this tournament. And so they were wondering, like, what do people actually go through? Like, are they, singing in parking lots the way that we have and competing against like each other? Like, what does it really look like? And we were super privileged to be able to find that out and discover what that looks like as a college student to be competing in this big competition with, like AB said, 12,000 people initially. And yeah, it was
Well, out of 12,000 people, what do they whittle it down to? How many are actually in the competition
well, it starts off with 12,000 and then it goes to
Annually.
annually, yes, every
annually?
year.
Okay.
And then one team wins. So it's about, is it about 600
Every
people?
team is about 15 people. So
Yeah.
we're documentary filmmakers, not so good at arithmetic, but it goes off a
But
monthly number.
I can
That's
relate.
yeah,
one team, about 15 people win. So that
yeah.
goes from 12,000 people to about 15, and that's what you get.
So you decided to follow this team and you followed them in their last year. Is that correct? You didn't follow them. Did you follow them all 4 years or did you just follow them their last year?
Just the year of competition is
Just
when
the
we
year of
followed them.
competition.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, um, and you met them. How far in advance did you have to meet them to make the decision to say, okay, this is who we do want to follow? Because you had lots of options, I'm sure, to follow others, but this seemed to be the best one to follow since they have been the champions so many years and more than any other. So, but you still had to make a decision about whether you wanted to follow them and make this documentary or not. Is that correct, Abraham?
Yeah, I mean, you know, in the documentary process, we had to create like a pitch tape, and with that, um, the folks at Universal Music Group and Ventureland and everyone said, okay, let's go for it. I think for us, um, you know, in documentaries, there's the production aspect of it, following them in real time, observing them as they make their final year at college, as they make their way through this competition. And then there's the editing process. And it was there, I think, that ultimately the final story was shaped. Because this could have been told in any number of ways. But Angelique and I decided that we wanted this to be a coming of age story, and we wanted to and really I don't say this to be cheesy, but I say this truly to lean into love, because what we saw is sort of the way each of them both had to figure out their own individual challenges with their home and as they grow up, whatever growing up means for each one of them. but the support and love that they found within this group, within this a cappella community. That's what we felt was important. And that ultimately is the message that we hope people will feel and take when they walk out of the movie theater and watch this film.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way of saying it because there didn't seem to be any divas in this. That, they all seemed incredibly supportive of one another and the work they did. Is was that an editing? Did that come through editing, or is that actually there, Angelique?
It's actually there. You can't fake the funk. You can't pretend to be in harmony with each other without actually harmonizing together. Like I know you talked about like the challenges of, AB and I maybe working together as two different, cinematographers, two different directors, but really you're one. Like you have to be on the same page and support each other, support the soloist and complement the soloist because the song is you're performing all on the same stage. So the film is coming out together with both of our names on it. So regardless, like you gotta have each other's back. Like it's coming out. You're not you're not competing with each other. You're competing, to be the best to the outside the world. You have to be a unit. And filmmaking is a collaborative, medium of art anyway.
Mhm.
We have our different roles, but you have to collaborate. You have to be together with what you're trying to tell in this story. And I think that with this story about community and self-discovery and like just joy in general, we, had to mirror that as well. And I think they did too.
How did you choose? Because you do have several people that you have singled out to tell their story on a deeper level, with their families and growing up and what led them to where they are now. How did you choose the different people that you've highlighted in this film, Abraham?
Well, first of all, I kind of wish we had all the time in the world and could have followed each of them. I'm
Seriously.
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
Really, the team had the most wonderful people and with the most wonderful voices and stories, and ultimately it was in the edit that those decisions were made. The film had a wonderful UK-based editing team, Paul Carlin and Kevin Konak, both Emmy, who've worked on Oscar-nominated, Emmy-nominated, heavy documentaries. And then they came to this, not that this isn't heavy, but it's a different kind of project. And just like in choosing how to make um, an ensemble of voices work in song, the same is true for a film. The choices were less about who's the star or soloist, but more about what stories complement each other, sort of shifting different backstories and where to put an emphasis on someone's parents or their, where they come from, whether that be Bismarck, North Dakota, or Burbank, California. How would those stories complement each other to make the whole greater than the sum of its parts?
Yeah, I love the story about the young man from Bismarck, North Dakota. I loved his parents. His mother was absolutely stunningly beautiful, but I loved his parents and how supportive they were. All of them, all of the parents. I don't think you can even no matter what we choose to do in the entertainment industry, it's really important to have that support system, along the way that somebody's encouraging you and going, yes, you can do this. And for young people in particular, pursuing something like a cappella singing, it's not like going to lead to a career necessarily, although it has, and we'll get into that a little bit. But just to find the support of your parents, no matter what, and particularly, they're from way middle America, to allow their son to go to LA or, Southern Cal and pursue his dream. I think that was beautiful, beautiful story. Were they very cooperative? It looked like they were, but was it difficult to get the parents on film, Angelique, to tell the stories?
No, the parents were, supportive. They truly were. And I think that they were, eager to also get their children's story out. And um, I think that they're just like you said, that you need support to make it in this industry in whatever capacity that is. And usually as a college student, it's going to be your parents. And AB and I did not ignore that aspect of the story as it unfolded. And we saw that the parents were kind of their backbone for a lot of the students in this film.
Yeah.
And that's why we decided to connect that and show that and not just show them by themselves, because that's not the reality of someone that so-called makes it in this world. You need support. And because they're young and they're, it's this, like, again, it's this coming of age where in the self-discovery, that support is usually your parents or a group of friends. And for them, it was both. But it was a beautiful thing to see how supportive their parents were, because this is not this is a very risky thing that they're doing and trying to
Mhm.
be artists, or they are being artists and trying to get their work out as artists.
You have several former members of the SoCal Vocals who have gone on to be successful. So, how easy or difficult was it to get them to come and be a part of this documentary, Abraham?
You mean former SoCal
Or
VoCals
the former SoCal
who are
Vocal.
in the film?
Yes.
Well, they have their, like Angelique and I enjoy hearing music, but we ourselves were never part of an a cappella group. Um, and I was never in a sorority, not a sorority, like in a fraternity, or like that was not
You weren't in the
our,
sorority.
I was not shocking. But I only mention that because like we didn't have the world of reference to realize what this kind of community meant for them until we got there to the a cappella house, because that house has been there for decades by now. And there's a scene in the film where you see the alumni night.
Mhm.
Um, and for them, it was to walk into that space where their formative years had taken place, where they learned how to sing. They like it meant so much to them to be able to be there. So it didn't take much for us to invite them. And for us, it was an opportunity to see, wow, this actually, you know, this means so much to these people. Um, I don't know. I'm trying to think like if Angelique, I don't know how you feel like we studied together at grad school, not at
Yeah.
undergrad. And but when we go there, it's a different feeling. It's like we think about the friendships we made, we think about the films we made, but the place itself, it doesn't hold the same kind of meaning as it did for them. If the walls could sing, that was the
Yeah.
feeling we got.
How beautiful. So, what was the most difficult part of filming this? I always like to ask that question because there's always some hurdles that you have to get over when you're filming a documentary. So, was there anything, and it might be different for either one of you. So, I'll ask you both the same question. So, Angelique, what was the most difficult part for you in the
I think
filming?
the most difficult part for me of filming this was becoming a college student again. And I say that as in we had to follow their schedule, and there's 16 of them. And, every time we saw them, they had some sort of like, DoorDash order or Uber Eats order of like junk food and coffee, and just trying to survive the day, because their day sometimes starts at 7 a.m. and finishes at midnight. And then they start over again with multiple jobs, classes and rehearsals, not only for the SoCal Vocals, but again, they're in the art world. So they have their own showcases of their singing and, on stage performances. And so turning into that and becoming a college student again, Avi and I had lots of breakfast burritos and matchas. And this sounds like it's an easy thing. The way that I'm saying it doesn't seem like it's like the hardest thing to do. But I promise you, being up for 18 hours a day and also trying to, debrief afterwards with Avi and be like, okay, like what did we see today? And, keeping that filmmaker hat on, but also being in the hours and the struggle of being a college student with them is what it felt like. We call ourselves the Vo crew, because we felt like we like blended in with their experience and year and journey that they had. So um, it was it was difficult in that sense.
I can understand. Those are long hours to
I'm
follow.
so tired. Yeah,
Definitely. How
I'm
about
so
for you,
tired.
Abraham?
I would say it's two things. I think the one is that this is both a coming of age, journey, and it's also a competition film. And within the competition film part of it, had they lost, I'm spoiler alerts, I'm saying, let's say at at the very outset, had they lost the regional quarterfinals, no spoiler alerts after that. But had they lost after the first competition, we wouldn't have had a film. Or
Right.
we would, but it would have been a very different movie. So I
Right.
think there was for some pretty rough nights, wondering what would happen. And I think the second thing is really in the edit, because these are such wonderful people with such wonderful voices. And I just wish, this could have been some sort of mini series where everybody could have gotten to
Uh-huh.
hear each and every one of them. Um, but I think this is a sort of film that it gives an ensemble and gives an essence of this group and an essence of this period of time in their lives.
Hmm.
So in that sense, I hope that Angelique and I did the SoCal vocals justice.
How did they feel about being in this documentary? Was there anybody who kind of said, "Oh, well, I'm not sure I want to do this. This will make me more nervous if I know somebody's filming me," or whatever excuses? But how did they? And you had to have all of them, so you couldn't just, if somebody said, "I'm not good with this," you know, but everybody else was. I mean, did that situation ever come up when before you started this process?
Well, they make decisions as a group, whether it's, the song choice, like it has to be unanimous. Everything is as a group. And so they got together as a group before and said, are we going to be a part of this documentary or not? And so they chose to be part of this documentary. I think that obviously, as a human being that's not used to having cameras following you around 24/7, even if they are in front of the spotlight sometimes as performers,
Hmm.
it's not normal to have cameras following you around.
Exactly.
So I think initially there's some getting used to of that. But I think that AB and I had our guards down and we went in also, you're always nervous, like it's a new thing and you want to, let them know that we're not here to like exploit them and to be okay and to, let their guard down. And I think in the beginning, obviously, there's this um there's this meeting of folks that we come together and we're like, do we trust each other? What's going on? But it doesn't feel. I don't think that they had any kind of. I don't know. I don't think there were any issues, is what I'm saying. They were perfectly fine being on camera, and I think that they just got used to us after a while.
That's good. Now, after this filming has ended, have you followed anyone afterwards? After they all graduated and went their different ways, have you continued? What year was this filmed?
2023, like filming, as in like continue filming them, or just
Watching them and seeing what happened in their career, or have you decided maybe to do another documentary following them after their, this competition and after they graduated? Has that been another conversation that you've had?
maybe you just and
Hey, AB, do you want to answer that one?
Well, I think, documentaries are like time capsules, both for the people in the film and for the people making it. So when I watch this film, I think about Angelique and myself in 2023. And and yeah, and also for the characters, the documentary subjects themselves. I mean, each one of them is a slightly different person now, like after college.
Yes.
Um, and you know, they're taking the risk of trying to make it in the arts as adults, which is, if you think it's hard being in a cappella competition with 12,000 other competitors, trying to become a singer is actually, a real challenge. And I can say that it was so wonderful for Angelique and I to watch them get a standing ovation at the Tribeca Film Festival when they got to go on stage. I think for me, that was like the highlight so far, because we got to see them celebrated and loved by an audience. And honestly, I'm just really, really rooting for them right now. And I really, really, really hope that the film does well, because Lord knows that the documentary world is also in a strange place.
Right.
And I really hope that people go to movie theaters and watch it, and that this does something good for them and their journey as well. Like, as far as I'm concerned, that's giving back. And yeah.
I agree with you. I say it all the time, almost every single show, that movies need to be seen in the movie theater. And I've preached this for almost 10 years since I launched this show. So I agree. And we need movies, and I say this all the time too. So that we need movies like this that are uplifting. You feel good. You watch it and you're sort of singing afterwards, and your spirit is uplifted when after you watch this film. And we need those kinds of movies. We definitely do. And we don't need any more killing and everything else. We have enough going on in our world. So we need films like this. So having said that, where can people see Just Sing,
People can.
Abraham
Oh,
or
no,
Angelique,
no,
either
wait.
one?
No, go ahead, Amy.
Well, the film is being distributed by Abramarama, and which means it's going to be in LA and New York starting April 23rd. It'll first be at the AMC, the Empire AMC at Times Square, and then it will be at the Laemmle in Los Angeles and the Quad in New York City. Through Gather, we had on-screen, on-demand screenings offered, and sort of amazingly, in Boston and Chicago, the film is already sold out
Wow.
for that one-time screening, and from there, it's going on to other theaters. I can actually check right now and tell you. Um, Angelique, you can go on. I'll tell you exactly because theaters have started booking it.
That's great.
Um,
Yes.
and we're hoping that it will also get further distribution after that. That is our hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
April 23rd is a pre-screening, is an advanced screening in New York. And from there on the 24th to the 30th, you can find it at the Laemmle in North Hollywood or
Great
in New
theater.
York. Yeah,
Great,
in
great
theaters.
theater. Yeah.
Yes.
Great theater to be at
Yes.
the
And I
Lemley.
think
Yeah.
the beauty of singing theater, I know we talked about this just a second ago, but we have people singing in this film,
Mhm.
and the
Mhm.
experience of watching it on your phone versus your laptop, like, eventually it'll get there because that's the world we live in. Like, we want it, it'll be online eventually. But to hear these people sing and with the speakers surrounding you,
Yes.
I would liken it to going to a church service in person and hearing the choir versus streaming it online. You still get the service, right? You still get it, you still appreciate it, but there's something about being there and let it touch your spirit and your soul that it's a game changer being in the theater.
Yeah, and well, again, experiencing it with other people in the audience, I think that always, uplifts the experience itself. It's important to have that. And you're right, that you have better sound and everything else in the theater than you do at your home. I can't believe anybody watches anything on an iPhone, but that's that's
They
beyond. And
do.
even
They
even the
do.
even the computer. I mean, when I'm sent screeners, I hook it up to my big flat screen TV, which is still not going to a theater, but it's better than watching it even on a computer. So,
Right.
so I think it's important. So everybody seek out Just Sing. You will. It's just uplifting. You can bring. It's a family movie. You can bring everyone. At every age would enjoy this. Young children to grandparents would enjoy seeing this movie because it is. It's uplifting and it's exciting and there's some tension in it, but there's lots of wonderful stories behind it. So thank you both for creating this beautiful film together, and I look forward to your other projects in the future and having you back on the show. But I wish you much success with Just Sing. So everybody seek it out.
Thank you.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much, Jen.
Thank you. Have a great day. Take care.
Greatly appreciated. You
You're
too.
welcome.